Hello, everyone. I'm Joanna De Ninis, and this is Truth Talk for April 27th, 2026. I actually missed several days because I was way too tired. I had my son's car in the shop, and I literally had to babysit. In other words, if I wasn't there, the work wasn't getting done. And it was a big job, right? So I understand. But the point of the matter is, if I wasn't there, they wouldn't work on it. Matter of fact, when we dropped it off, they told us it would be done in a few days, and a few days turned into 3 weeks. So we were down a car, and it was, inconvenient, obviously, trying to share our vehicles. And then finally, I had to go down because my calls were not being answered, and, that just goes to show, I mean, what happens in relationships or situations where someone doesn't really tell you the truth, right? They pretty much lie or say something that's not true, an untruth. So I'm going to call this topic um, lies and lack of trust. This just glitched. I don't know what happened, but the video just glitched. So I don't know what happened, but I'm going to keep going because this is not a perfect video. I don't do editing and I'm jumping on and I don't want to, have to re-record this. So anyways, whatever happened, let's just put it behind us. Anyway, so the topic for today is lies and lack of trust. So, what happens when you have someone, you're very gifted in an area. Like this mechanic was very, very gifted. Clearly, he knew what he was doing. And not everybody can do this, right? He's got a special ability. But the problem is that um, there were other areas where he was lacking. And, you know, the first thing is when you go in, when I went into the shop, it's, it's not very clean. It's um, not well kept, right? So I don't know about you, but obviously, if something's not clean and organized, my mind goes to, how are they going to do this job well if they can't take care of the basics? And I'm not trying to be judgmental, but you if you don't present well, unfortunately, people are going to draw conclusions, right? So, um, you hate to do that, but I don't, like I said, don't want to be judgmental, but kind of what happens, right? Because if they can't take care of their environment or themselves, then you start to wonder, are they capable of doing the job, right? So, I really kind of wanted to turn around at that point when I was not happy with what I saw at the shop. But, my husband was there at the time and he wanted to do this for less money, so here we are, going all the way to Glendale to get this car repaired by this guy. And like I said, I talked to him. He said, yeah, we ended up paying for the engine. The engine was going to get delivered on Wednesday. He said this was on Monday. So Wednesday, he said, okay, by Friday, we should have it done. So I'm like, okay, I'll call you, right? You paid for the engine. As far as I know, Wednesday, the engine was to be delivered. So I called Wednesday and he confirmed the engine was delivered. And then he said, I'm kind of busy right now. Let me call you back in 30 minutes. 30 minutes came and went, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So now I call and my phone call's not answered. And so, okay, could have been busy. So I waited another 3 hours and I tried calling, right? So again, you give the person benefit of doubt and say, okay, well, maybe, they're just really busy, right? So then um, I think I tried calling the next day, no response. So my son tried to call um, on, I think, Monday. And the guy said, yeah, I saw that your mom called. So he clearly got my calls. Something did happen in his family, but he's like, don't worry about it. I'm sorry, I was a little behind, but I'm going to get to your car. Your car is going to be first priority. So we're thinking, okay, a few days from now, this is a Monday, maybe by Thursday that week, maybe it'll be done. So, a few days go by. Again, no phone call, no nothing, no, not able to reach him. So then, my husband calls, and again, different number, right? Because clearly when the number's remembered, it's not answered. So the husband called, same thing. You know, you know what? I'm sorry, got busy. Your car is going to be first priority, right? So there's second lie, right? Basically, whatever he said first time, couldn't follow through. Now he's saying it again. So now a week goes by and we don't know what to do because he's not answering the phone, the calls that we call when we call, because he must be recognizing the number. And so now we're like, what do we do? We have to go down there, right? Because can't call. So I actually was at a diner because I knew actually we went there. It was 9 o'clock in the morning when they supposedly opened. We went there, we walked around, the gates were closed. It was already 9 o'clock. So obviously we're already strike one. So I left, went to a diner because I knew they might not pick up. I had to have someone at the diner call the mechanic and a total stranger to ask what the hours are today and tomorrow, meaning Friday and Saturday. So they call and they said, yeah, 9 to 6. So we were there at 9, but they didn't have the door, they didn't have the gate open. So so right there, there's a feeling of unease, right? This is a person that I'm trying to contact, couldn't contact because when he recognized my number, he does not answer. What's supposed to be 3 days turned into 3 weeks. I've got an engine, a car that's a manual car, which means I can't drive it. So I've got just myself, my car, which is automatic. My son had to leave to go to work. So now I have to go to the shop by myself with a guy that I don't trust. And there is a vehicle there that's my son's and an engine that was delivered. So I found out they're open. So I go back to the shop. The gates are open. I go in, and because it's just me, I'm like, I'm recording because my other son suggested I record. So I'm recording this interaction because I want to hear what he says. Now I'm concerned, where's the car that supposedly was first priority and being worked on? Looking around, actually I walked in, it was his dad was there, the mechanic was not there. And the dad can't really speak English very well, so trying to talk, and he's like, my son will come in 2 minutes. My son will come in 2 minutes. So at this point, I'm waiting and I'm talking and I go, where's the car? He goes, my son's coming in 2 minutes. So meanwhile, I'm looking around the shop. I don't see the vehicle. Right now, I'm like concerned. So I wait. The son comes, and I'm like, where's my car? So he sees me recording, and he doesn't like it. So he decides to call the cops, a police officer. And I'm like, well, okay, you know what? I was about ready to do that myself because at this point, I don't know where my car is. And I've got an engine here. I don't know what to do because I don't trust this guy now because he's not answering my calls. Now he's upset because I'm recording because he doesn't want to be, held accountable, right? Accountability is a thing. And at the same token, he grabs some keys and he starts to walk away from the shop. And I'm like, where is he going? He's not saying anything to me. He's not communicating anything. So now, since he called the cops, now I'm calling the cops, which I'm pretty sure was what I wanted to do, to be honest with you, because I was concerned. So I called the cops and I said, I'm here at a mechanic shop. The mechanics got my car and an engine of mine that is paid for. I don't know where the car is. He's walking away. I'm not sure if I should follow him or not, you know, and the officer is like, just stay where you are. Don't follow him because he's not telling me where he's going. Well, lo and behold, he had to walk about 2 blocks away to where my son's car was parked because he had not touched it and he had no intentions of touching it, even though he kept telling us that it was first priority. So at this point, he brings it to me, and I said, "Can you park it here because um, I have to get it towed?" And he doesn't. He leaves it kind of on the street, blocking the driveway, which is not a good place. So meanwhile, the officer comes, and I'm trying to explain this whole situation, right? So bottom line, the officer was trying to get all the facts straight, but obviously I'm stranded there. I'm a female. My husband's not there. He's across the country. I don't drive manual. My son had to go to work. Um, there's this car, an engine's there. I don't know how, even though I can call AAA to tow it, the officer's like, you got to get rid of it now because it's in the middle of the street. And I'm like, well, I gotta, I don't know what to do. I can't move the car. I can't, I need to get it towed. But meanwhile, I have this engine. So long story short, lo and behold, um, I was also on the phone with the supplier of the engine that we paid for the engine and it got delivered to the shop. And I was trying to see if he would take the engine back. So what ended up happening was the supplier had faith in this mechanic, even though it's been 3 weeks. He said, I'm going to call the mechanic. He thought it was a different mechanic, but he found out no, this was the mechanic that he had recommended, and so he called him. And long story short, um, the guy came out with the officer saying, "Let come on, let's talk about this." So we remedied it in the sense that um, we agreed that he would fix the car because the engine was there, and he said, "I promise you, I'll fix it." But he said, "Today, I will get it done today." Well, today turned into tomorrow. Tomorrow turned into the next day. And literally, I'm there like 8 hours, then another 6 hours, and then another 4 hours babysitting. Because if I didn't show up, the car wouldn't be worked on. So, nonetheless, it's it's not necessary. It's not good business. It's not being trustworthy. Even the officer, I explained to him, I said, you told me you were going to work on it. Should be done in 3 days. It's 3 weeks now. Then you said my car was going to be first priority. You didn't even have it in the shop. It was parked 2 blocks away. If you just would have told me that, something happened, you had a personal matter that went on and you explained it to me, things might have gone differently. But because I was lied to and because I trusted that and now finding out that it was a lie, there's no trust. So, this is not the way to do business. This is not the way to not just do business, but to be a human being, a respectful, considerate human being. This is why telling the truth, having, integrity, holding yourself accountable, and follow through and effectively communicate. These are all important, crucial things that must be done. We can't just, you know, do whatever we feel like, show up whenever we want, not stick to our word, not it just doesn't work. There's that what happens is when you feel like you're lied to, you feel violated, then you distrust, fear sets in, things get out of hand, which clearly, it did because, you know, the officer had to be called. I mean, wasn't shouldn't have gone to that, but nonetheless it went there. And luckily the officer was more of like a mediator to kind of make sure that all this gets done and done, fairly. So, but anyways, so it was exhausting. It was an exhausting Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And um I think I actually got sick or something too. So that just didn't help. But anyways, the reality of it is this is not the way we should be conducting business. This is not the way we're supposed to be treating each other. If it's very simple, if someone says they're going to do something and you do it, there's a trust that exists. There's a comfortable feeling of, you know, I've got your back, you got mine. And none of that took place in this transaction. I mean, I will say that at the end of the day, the mechanic did a great job because the mechanic is very talented, very gifted. You can tell, I could tell that he knew what he was doing, but it was the way he handled his business, the way he took care of his his shop, the like I said, the mistruths that he told, the lack of accountability, you know, the lack of communication. Unfortunately, you know, even though he did a good job, I'm not going back there, right? So, um, you know, he shared with me that he had hired a couple mechanics and they don't show. And I'm thinking, well, if your mechanics are not showing, then you let them go, right? You look for new mechanics that are going to show, that are going to help you with your shop. You know, this is all part of running a business. And I understand that not everybody is good at everything, and but that's why we hire people to do what we can't do, and then you complement one another, right? If one person can is better at another thing, then let that person handle it, and you know, you do whatever you do well, and together you become a team, and you know, you work together, you complement one another, and you know, you get the job done the way it should be done, and your customer is satisfied. Anyways, it's a long-winded story, and I can tell you it was no fun. And I definitely will not go back there. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, he's a talented mechanic. But you know, we talk about good energy and who do you want around you, and you know, it wasn't a pleasant experience. It made me distrust him. It almost made me fear him. Uh, Obviously, I was concerned for the status of the vehicle, the money we paid for the engine. I mean, all of that didn't have to go there, but it did. And it's unfortunate. So all I can say is, you know, do unto others as you would want done to you. You know, operate with truth, honesty, integrity, accountability. You know, live by the golden rule. Do unto others as you would want done to you. No one is better or superior than another. We're all the same. And the way we treat people is I would think would be the way we would want to be treated. And I don't think he would have appreciated the way I was handled or the way the situation was handled had it been done to him. So anyways, that's it for now. You know, sorry for I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. It's just that, you know what, we have to do better as a human race. We have to do better. We can't be operating like this because, you know, I understand nothing's perfect, no one's perfect, but this is not the way to conduct business. It's not the way to live life. It's not the way to treat one another. You know, things could be a lot easier if we were we had good intentions and we were consciously trying to do the right thing, right? And live by the golden rule and like I said, treat others the way we want to be treated. The world would be so much better place if we all did that. So, but I have hope for humanity. I really do believe that we can do better. And you know, I don't know if he learned anything from this experience. I would like to hope so, but I don't know. Because in reality, it's up to him to change the way he does things. I can't do it. Nobody can do it. Only he can. And the true hold that holds true for each and every one of us. We have the power within to make our own transformation. Nobody can do it for us, and nobody can suggest that we do it. It's really up to us. So maybe if you know, if we all move forward in life just trying to be a little bit more conscious of our good intentions and trying to do the right thing by living by the golden rule for every decision or choice we make, for every interaction. we have with one another. I can tell you that life would be a much nicer place if we did that. So that's it. Thanks for listening to my rambling and some of my complaining, I guess. Just relieved that I don't have to be there anymore. Like I said, spent 3 grueling days and I was very tired. So, alrighty, well, thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye, and please remember to like, share, subscribe, or comment. And I'll take good and bad comments. If you have anything to say, please just say it. Okay? I promise I won't get offended. All right. Take care. Bye.